Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, Books, Chris, and Purrs. My name's Leslie, and this month is November, which is Native American Heritage Month. So let's discuss some books and some music. That's kind of what we're covering today. All right, so we'll start off with some poetry. We have She Had Some Horses by Joy Harjo. Not only is Joy Harjo a poet, but they are also in a musical band, which is pretty cool. And they are the winner of the Poet Laureate of the United States. Even though I have this, I'm going to go ahead and set us up to read a description a little bit from Barnes and Noble. Let's see, I have so many windows open. My goodness. Here we go. Getting off to a great start. All right, this is a poetry collection, and the author explores poems that speak of women's despair, of their imprisonment and ruin at the hands of men and society, but also of their awakening power and love. And so this author has so much poetry that I haven't read that I really want to get into. What I really like learning is that they have like this whole other musical career, right? I thought that was pretty cool. And I also, here's a deal. Because this is the tube, I don't know what the tube will allow me. So I'll play like 5 seconds of their song. And this is for all the artists I'm going to bring up today. But I will also have all the artists listed in the details, just so you know. So you can look them up. And I have a little bio on everyone. And the bios are either going to be from Barnes & Noble or they're going to be for whatever I have available on Spotify, which actually I'll get to that as well. So just to read a little bit of the author's bio that I saw on Spotify, it says Joy Harjo, a member of the Muscogee Nation and the 23rd Poet Laureate of the United States, has been performing music with her poetry since the early 1990s, when she founded the reggae tribal jazz rock band Joy Harjo and Poetic Justice. Since her first album, a spoken word classic, Letter from the End of the 20th Century, and her 98 solo album, Native Joy for Real, she has received numerous awards and recognitions for her music, including a Native American Music Award for Best Female Artist of the Year for her 2008 album, Winding Through the Milky Way. Okay, so this song is She Had Some Horses, which is the title of this poetry collection I just shared. And I'm legit just going to share like 5 seconds, and let's see if we can get away with this, okay? And that's as much as you're going to get. And even when I listened to that, I could already hear like the reggae elements that are kind of coming through. And I really like that. So we're going to stop the screen and we're going to move on to another poet. I have two poetry collections by Natalie Diaz. The first is When My Brother Was an Aztec, and the other one is Postcolonial Love Poem. I think I may have picked up both of these copies at Village Well, which is my local bookstore. And I'm just going to go ahead and say that I love both of them, but I'm also going to look up the description with you on Barnes & Noble, because, you know, they're my go-to for the descriptions. Let's do this. Natalie Diaz was born and raised on the Fort Mojave Indian Reservation in Needles, California. After playing professional basketball for 4 years in Europe and Asia, Diaz returned to the States to complete her MFA at Old Dominion University. She lives in Surprise, Arizona, and is working to preserve the Mojave language. And on the overview, it is written, I write hungry sentences, Natalie Diaz once explained in an interview, because they want more and more lyricism and imagery to satisfy them. This debut collection is a fast-paced tour of a Mojave life and family narrative. A sister fights for or against a brother on meth, and everyone from, I'm going to say this right, Antigone, Houdini, I'm going to say that wrong. Oh, and Jesus is invoked and invited to hash it out. These darkly humorous poems illuminate far corners of the heart, revealing teeth, tales, and more than a few dreams. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and look up the next one that's also by Natalie. Postcolonial Love Poems is an anthem of desire against erasure. Natalie Diaz's brilliant second collection demands that everybody carried in its pages bodies of language, land, rivers, suffering brothers, enemies, and lovers be touched and held as beloved. Through these poems, the wounds inflicted by America onto an indigenous people are allowed to bloom pleasure and tenderness. Quote, let me call my anxiety desire then. Let me call it a garden, end quote. In this new lyrical landscape, the body of indigenous Latinx, Black, and brown women are simultaneously the body politic and the body ecstatic. In claiming this autonomy of desire, language is pushed to its dark edges. The astonishing dune fields and forests where pleasure and love are both grief and joy, violence and sensuality. And I hope you can't hear the trash truck outside. All right. So we talked about Joy Harjo. This is something I have not read yet, but I want to because this is a musical artist I really like. So not only am I talking about their music, but their book. This is a graphic novel, and it's a RedBone. It's a true story of a Native American rock band. So it's by Christian Steabler, Sonia, Paoloni, and Thibault Balahy. I think I'm saying it wrong. One of their songs, you might know it if you're not familiar with the band because it was used in the first movie of Guardians in the Galaxy quite a bit, even I think in promotions. So that's how you might know them. I have not read this yet. It's a graphic novel. I don't know if you can see that. But I love it. I like the color scheme. Some of it's also just in black and white, which is fine. I'm here for all of it. And some of them are like illustrated pages. So this is really cool. It's Jimi Hendrix. I'm going to go ahead and do I have one of their songs? I don't know if I had one of their songs ready like I should have. That's funny. Hold on. Sorry, everyone. I thought I had it ready, but this is the only one I didn't have ready. All right, this is another one. As soon as you hear it, you're going to know which song it is. And also, I'm only playing a little bit because I want to. I don't know if I'm going to get dinged for putting this out here. And just to talk about the band a little bit, I'm going to go to the Spotify profile. RedBone was a Los Angeles band led. Oh, no. Okay, RedBone was a Los Angeles-based band led by Native American Pat and Lolly Vegas, both lead singers who had previously worked under their own names, appearing in the '65 film It's Bikini World prior to forming RedBone, an all-native band at the encouragement of Jimi Hendrix. Their first success with RedBone came in 1970 with Maggie on Epic. The Witch Queen of New Orleans did somewhat better the next year, and Come and Get Your Love, a single that peaked at number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100 and went platinum, gave them their greatest exposure. It would also be the band's last hit, though they continued to record and perform on an intermittent basis. In 2008, RedBone entered the Native American Music Awards Hall of Fame. 6 years later, Come and Get Your Love was introduced to a new generation when it was featured in the superhero film Guardians of the Galaxy, which I did bring up. So it's kind of funny that's in the profile, but that's pretty cool. So yeah, not only do you have a great band to listen to, but you also have the graphic novel, and Jimi Hendrix is clearly referenced in here. So I look forward to their inclusion in this in their story about how this band got together. I mean, that's pretty cool. Imagine to be, you know, talented, and then like Jimi Hendrix tells you, yeah, you should really do this thing. You know, I thought that was really cool. So yeah, something to read, something to listen to. Also, this last book is by Estella Gonzalez or Estella. It's Chola Salvation. I read this a while ago. I could have maybe read this in 2021. It's been a while. This author is not indigenous, but I am including this just because the narrative itself does speak to intersectionality between, how do I say this? Indigenous people of Mexico and people that are not, and their roots. There's just like a whole conversation that's going on in here that I thought would be a nice bridge to other material I'll be talking about this month. So I did want to bring that up, and I'll go ahead and I will read the synopsis here. And I'll read a little bit about the author too before I start that. Just really quick about the author. She's a first-gen Chicana born and raised in East LA, which inspires her writing. She received her BA in English from Northwestern University and her MFA in fiction from Cornell University. She lives in Tucson with her husband and 2 cats, which I thought was lovely. And then just to go back to about this book. These interrelated stories, mostly set in East LA, and cover the lives of a conflicted Mexican-American community. In Sábado Gigante, Bernardo drinks himself into a stupor every Saturday night. Oh, okay. Aquí no es mi tierra. He cries as he tries to ease the sorrow of a life lived far more home. Meanwhile, his son Gustavo struggles with his emerging gay identity, and Maritza, the oldest daughter, is expected to cook and clean for her brothers, even though their lives in East LA, not Guadalajara or Chihuahua. In Powder Puff, Maria spends hours every day applying her makeup, making sure to rub the foundation all the way down her neck so it looks like her natural color. But no matter how much she rubs and rubs, her skin is no lighter. Estella Gonzalez vividly captures her native East LA in these affecting stories about a marginalized people dealing with racism, machismo, and poverty. In painful and sometimes humorous scenes, young people try to escape the traditional expectations of their family. Other characters struggle with anger and resentment, others finding innovative ways to exact revenge for slights, both real and imagined, through music, tradition, and contemporary, accompanies them in the search for love and acceptance. And so, with that said, this is definitely a hard read, I would say, just for myself. I thought this was a little bit too close to home at times, but definitely worth picking up and reading. And here comes a trash truck. I hope you can't hear it. I'll find out when I'm done with this. I'm trying to think about. Oh, there's there's one last band singer I wanted to share, and that's Black Belt Eagle Scout. Um, their music is also available on Spotify and also YouTube. So I will go ahead and share that. Mm-hmm. So this song is Soft Stud, but just to read a little bit about the band. KP found herself far from her ancestral lands during a time of collective trauma when their world was wounded and in need of healing. In 2020, she made the journey from Portland back to the Skagit River, back to the cedar trees that stand tall and shrouded in fog, back to the tide flats and the mountains, back to Suanamish. Right when I was reading this, it closed me out. Okay. It is a powerful thing to return to our ancestral lands, and oftentimes the journey is not easy. Like the salmon through the currents, like the tide as it crawls to shore. This is a story of return. It is the call and response. It is the outstretched arms of people who came before welcoming her home. The land, the water, the sky is a celebration of lineage and strength, even in its deepest moments of loneliness and grief, of frustration over a world wrought with colonial violence and pain. The songs remind us that if we slow down, if we listen to the waves and the winds through the trees, we will remember to breathe. And that's all I really have about a profile for that person. But here we are. Again, I'm just going to play a couple of seconds and let's see if I can get away with this. The tube will tell me otherwise.
Surprises in the night. Won't you have your way? Open up the door, I see. I know you're taking.
Oop, there we go. I'm back. Oh, there is one more band. I can't believe I don't have them up. I have them up on Spotify, but not on YouTube. And that is Haluci Nation. I guarantee you've also heard their music if you don't know the band. And that is because one of their songs was recently used. I think it's Electric Powwow, I think, was recently used in a movie. It was For Killers of the Flower Moon. And let's see if I can play this. Hold on. I'm looking for it. I have so much stuff up. This one has so many commercials. So let's see if it'll pop up now. All right, it popped up. All right, let's see. I'll go ahead and I'll read a little bit about the band first. So, welcome to the Haluci Nation. Bear Witness and Tim Toolman Hill of a tribe called Red and reintroduced themselves as the Haluci Nation in 2019 to reflect the evolution of their music and mission. The late artist, poet, and activist John Trudell coined the expression the Haluci Nation to describe the global community who remember at their core what it means to be human and live life in line with Indigenous values. Trudell recognized the connection between what he had accomplished and what ATCR did intuitively through music and art that helped these ideas to resonate. Trudell's voice can be first heard on the Haluci Nation's record, One More Saturday Night, a genre oblivious homage to the Electric Powwow gathering launched at Ottawa's Babylon nightclub in 2007 by the DJ crew. That night helped materialize the group's boundary-smashing vision to connect the dots between traditional Indigenous dance and post-rave electronic music into the future in entirely unexpected ways. In their latest release, the Haluci Nation continues to shine as versatile producers that catapult the group's classic sound and message to a new, exciting level. And that is officially the last band I was going to talk about. I almost forgot them. So yeah, the Haluci Nation. So there's a bit of that rave style, electronic, mixed with like their indigenous roots. And yeah, so I hope that you enjoy all these different suggestions I give you between the books and the music. There's plenty to explore. And you know what? We have the age of the search engine. So many great authors and musicians, singers. They're all just like a click away. So I hope you enjoyed this segment. If you're new here, please feel free to subscribe, like, and lastly, if there's anyone that I did not mention, because I'm trying to keep these segments just short suggestions, then I would say go ahead and start the thread below and just add music you like, books that you like about from Indigenous authors or about Indigenous stories that you would like people to be able to just pick up and keep going. So let's start that thread and I'll see you in the chat.